AG Sports. It's in the game. Guys, today I'm just going to be going over really some line moves. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have any additional picks that I have not already talked about. So if you're in it just for the picks or you're just trying to get more picks, I am sorry, guys. I'm fresh out of picks. We're sold out. Been sold out since like Tuesday. We're waiting for the next shipment to come in, but gas prices are high. Really though, guys, like I said at the beginning of this week, this is a week that I see a lot of turmoil coming in. One, the games are just not really appealing. If you opened up a book, whatever sports book you go to, if you open up their website and you're looking down the list, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, there is not a game where you're like, oh yeah, I definitely want to smash that line. That's huge. It really stands out to me. Everything is either really, evenly priced, or the game is just not appealing, or it's something where it's like, man, I don't want to get involved on either side. I don't trust either of these teams. Whatever the case is. So like I said, the plays are going to be pretty limited this week. If I do see something that pops out, I'll let you know. But right now I think I'm at like 5 plays for the week, and there's really like 2 that I'm just kind of keeping my eye on. Again, I haven't gotten involved with yet, but we'll go over it. So first of all, let's take a look at some of these line moves, and actually you probably just saw it if you're looking at it right now. The over-under for this Broncos-Browns game has consistently ticked downwards. We got the under 42 at the beginning of the week, which was back, so obviously Monday, right? If you've heard my spiel before on key numbers, when it comes to totals, 41 is a key number, especially when it comes to these lower scoring games. So now we've actually crossed that key number. And that was one of the reasons I grabbed the under 42 when it was on the board, is I knew that I was getting that, that key number. So it is now crossed below that to under 40. A lot of that is really just off of injury news. Baker Mayfield is out. Jarvis Landry is out. Chubb is out. I'm not going to go through it. You guys, you know, the Browns at this point are just pulling people out of wherever the hell they can get them to put them back there, get a jersey on them, and let them play. So that's where the under is coming from. That's where a lot of the pressure is coming from. And now I've actually heard some talk about Teddy Bridgewater possibly missing this game. I haven't seen too much as far as like looking into the news of that, but I've heard a couple people mention it. So that's another one where obviously, okay, that's going to impact it. I like the under 42, but I wanted to bring this one up because, one, we've seen line movement on it, so that works well for us. And 2 points of line movement, that's actually quite a bit. That's a 6% increase in probability that we win that bet. So we're up to 56% on that one. But with all of these injuries and things, it does throw a wrench into our system here. Like I've said before, the one thing that the algorithms cannot account for is the unknown, the variance of these players that we have not seen, the coaches that we do not know, what the hell their game plan is going to be, because the coach is going to change his game plan according to the personnel he has on board. So if he decides to change that, if he decides to go a totally different route than he usually would, obviously it's going to change. Secondly, though, especially if we get a backup for Teddy Bridgewater, if Bridgewater is not playing this game, I see a lot of sloppy play. I think Case Keenum is actually a pretty good quarterback, so I don't think he's going to seem too bad. He was actually with the Vikings that year they won on the walk-off touchdown to Stephon Diggs. He's actually the one who threw that pass. But again, with a depleted offensive line, if they are consistently putting pressure on him and he's trying to make these bad, ugly throws and he can't really rely on a strong running game because everybody's hurt, it's possible there's some turnovers and there's maybe some easy touchdowns, some easy conversions because of just bad field position. Same thing is true for the Broncos. If the Browns defense can stand up and they're the healthier of the two units here, especially if Teddy Bridgewater is not back there, they could possibly get some turnovers and some takeaways and maybe get a short field for their offense. So just because all these injuries are here and you maybe have the under 42, don't think that this is a gimme. there's still a lot of ways this can go over. So keep an eye on this one. Just keep watching what it's doing. Again, I'm not saying to get off the under 42. Just that's still the strong play. But if we see this number consistently tick down, and by the time we get to game time, or maybe even during the game, if it's dropping down to the point where it's at like 39, 38 or lower, or if you wanted to tease it to get the hedge opportunity, you can. I could still, like I said, I could still see this game landing exactly on 41. So even like right now, if you were to just take the over 40, it's at least a somewhat of a hedge. So again, I'm not doing that. I'm not making an official pick on that, but I wanted to let you know that opportunity is out there if you grab the under 42 back on Monday. Aside from that, what else has changed? Well, this Bengals-Ravens has really stayed exactly where it's at, which was the 6.5. So that one has not changed any. The Panthers-Giants, this one has changed. The Giants have gone from plus 2.5 to plus 3. Pretty big move, or pretty significant, because we are getting the full 3 points now. So we are getting the key number in this one. I'm still not touching it, mainly because I don't trust either side. I have no idea what the hell you're going to get out of either of these teams, especially without Christian McCaffrey. The Giants could definitely cover. I mean, hell, the Giants could outright win, but Daniel Jones could also go Daniel Jones and have a big loss. The Washington football team has, the WTFs, right? That's what we call them. They've been bet down drastically. This game started off as a 9.5, plus 9.5, and it's come all the way down to 7.5. And so it's a pretty public dog at this point, and that kind of worries me. A lot of times when you see these dogs that are just huge, the public is backing them. The casinos will start moving their number, but it's either an easy cover and there's no problem, or it's a totally wrong side and everybody just gets hosed by the casinos. And given that I think this is one of those weeks the casinos are really trying to win their money back after losing for 2 weeks, I'm not about to step in front of that train. I do think the Packers, if it was me having to make a play on this one, I'd probably lean the Packers, especially if we can get it at -7. So if you're trying to take this right now, I would actually buy the hook and buy it down to 7. The Packers offense is just, obviously it's been doing well, but the Washington football team defense has not been anything to write home about, and I do not believe they have anybody to stop Devontae Adams. And once he gets going, guys, there's no stopping it. He could have one of these like 150 2-touchdown games, and if that's the case, that might be all the Packers need, especially if Aaron Jones can add anything with that. Washington's offense has just looked inept. They're still dealing with injuries, and even though like Antonio Gibson is playing on hairline fracture in his leg, and then also having Terry McLaurin be like your really only healthy option back there, and you're relying on Taylor Heineke or whatever the hell his name is to get you this cover, especially against a team that has a pretty solid offense and finally has Jair Alexander at least looking healthy to play against and possibly shut down Terry McLaurin. That's a big ask. So like I said, I'm just not stepping in front of that one, but the line movement is surprising. I'm very surprised that there were so many people running to the window to move this line 2 points, and it's only Thursday. So I don't know which way it's going to go, but I have a feeling when the public comes, they're not betting Washington. They're probably going to be betting Green Bay. If you want the Green Bay -7, you probably either want to buy the hook or maybe wait till tomorrow at the latest. But I think by tomorrow afternoon, you're going to start seeing some public money come in. The Titans-Chiefs is another really good one. A lot of money is coming in on the Titans, and I totally understand it. They just, beat the Bills. The Bills obviously beat the Chiefs not too long ago. The Titans' offense is set up to beat the Chiefs' defense. The Titans are the best running game in the NFL. The Chiefs are one of the worst run stoppers in the NFL. So the Titans can start running the ball and just run literally until Derrick Henry gets tired, or until his damn legs fall off. So that is concerning, and I can see why people were jumping on the Titans plus 5.5. That being said, I'm still not willing to bet against the Chiefs. Not only are you saying that the Titans are going to keep it close in this game, which Man, if you really think that the Titans are going to win, I would honestly say just take the money line. Because if they lose, even the 5.5 points, I don't think is going to mean much. I realize that the Chiefs have covered like one game in the last, I don't know, like 10 or whatever the hell it was. But we just saw last week, when the Chiefs cover, they are going to really cover. It's not going to be like, oh, well, they won by 6 and the cover was at 5.5. It's going to be like the Chiefs covered because they won by 20. And so even a tease doesn't help you out. I don't like to tease against the Chiefs. And the Titans, like I said, if you really think they're going to win this game, if you think that this is going to be like a field goal kind of game, just take the Titans money line and maybe do like a half a unit on it to play that variance, and hopefully the ball bounces your way and you get the win. Because in my opinion, if they lose, the +4 isn't worth it. If they win, they're going to win. They're not going to just cover. But that all being said, I would actually look to take the Chiefs here. One of the very few times that the Chiefs are not the public play here. They have been bet down over 1.5 at this point. And again, the Chiefs, while they may not, be covering a lot of games and they're 3-3, they're still one of the top 5 offenses in the NFL, one of the top 5 teams in the NFL. Their biggest problem has been takeaways. Obviously, their defense doesn't help, but the takeaways have been a problem. They have just been turning over the ball at the most inopportune times. I mean, they're throwing interceptions in the damn end zone, like within the red zone, and that takes away from their total point output, and they're still one of the top 5 offenses. The Titans' defense is not getting a lot of takeaways right now, and I can actually tell you, let me see what we have them at. We have the Titans at a turnover ratio of -3. Means that they are down 3 takeaways for the year. They're not a great turnover team. If they're not getting those turnovers and they are solely reliant on, we're going to get a lead and then just keep pounding the ball with Derrick Henry, it has got to go perfectly for them to win. So if I was going to lay any money on this one, I would take the Chiefs minus the 4. If anything, if I really wanted to, you might even just buy the point down to get it to the 3. But again, I think I'm probably just staying away from this game altogether. Falcons-Dolphins is another good one. Dolphins have actually gotten an extra half point here, so the Falcons have been taking some money. It's Dolphins +3 right now. The Dolphins, their offensive line is getting all sorts of shifted around to account for some injuries and to try and better protect Tua. The Falcons' defense is, it's not great, but it's just straight up crazy. They have been just doing everything that they possibly can to try and blitz the other team and to try and keep pressure on their opponent. Hasn't worked out too well yet, but they also haven't played a depleted or shifted around offensive line. So again, probably another stay away for me. Jets, the Patriots. We have this game on the board already with the Patriots -7. This line did tick up, so the Patriots did take some money because they got to Patriots -7.5 for like half the day yesterday, and then it just recently came back down to 7, which means that there's money being taken on both sides here, and because it's not like the public time yet, that means there are sharp guys on both sides of this. There's sharp money on the Patriots, and they bumped it up to the 7.5. And then there's other sharp money on the Jets, who as soon as they saw that 7.5, bet as much as they could on it, and it popped it back down to 7. So, and it might even be some of the same people. Somebody's maybe out there trying to maybe middle this thing. If they bought the extra point to 8 or they teased it or whatever, but I still like the Patriots -7. I understand the Jets-Patriots, and the Patriots offense has not been great, and they've had some issues and all that other kind of stuff. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, the Jets are the worst offensive team by DVOA. The Patriots are a good to above average defense. Bill Belichick is going to be better than Saleh. I mean, Saleh, this is like his 7th or 6th game of his head coaching career. Zach Wilson's still a rookie. I understand they had the bye week. I am taking that into account. And I think, maybe they will have something drawn up. Maybe they'll have a good first drive. Because if whatever difference you're going to see from that bye week, you're going to see it in the first quarter. If they do better, if they have a better scripted drive in the first quarter, that's what you're going to see. And if they have a lot of success, they're going to try to keep doing that same game plan. But I can guarantee you that Bill Belichick and the Patriots are not going to let them run the same game plan for the entire game and kick their ass that way. If anything, if the Jets are up at halftime or up at the first quarter, more specifically halftime, I do see the Patriots coaching staff making the adjustments at halftime to come back and win this game. I do see it being a very low-scoring game. Even if the Jets were to get out and do something on offense, they're not putting together a Cowboys kind of offense. They're going to, put in their 14 or 17 points and hope it's enough in a lower-scoring game. So that's why I also have the under 42 in this game. Next, the Lions and the Rams. We got it at Rams minus 14. It's been bet up to the 15. I've talked about that game enough already. Rams minus 14 is still a pick. This game here, Eagles-Raiders, I did highlight this because it is the game that Cleet Blakeman is refereeing. The under 49.5 is what I had liked. I didn't bet on it, didn't jump on it fast enough, so it has been popped down to 48.5. I don't like it at the 48.5, or at least I don't like it as much. If you were still going to tease it, it's still fine because you're going to get through 51. I was really hoping it would go the other way, and it is another line I am still looking out for because the public will come in here tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday morning and possibly get this thing back up by a point or even a point and a half, depending on how much they're bringing in. As far as the side is concerned, this is another game where honestly it could go either way. I don't trust either team is what I'm trying to say here. The Raiders have looked good in some spots, look terrible in others. The John Gruden mix-up or whatever, I thought, again, last week they'd be fine. After that one win, I think some of the pressure is taken off. Maybe they relax and they don't do as well. The Eagles on the other side, their offense is so damn sporadic that they could hit a roll, hit a streak, and do really, really well, especially against the Raiders defense who likes to stop the run, but the Eagles don't run. So joke's kind of on them. But again, it really just depends on which team gets it going first. And that's why with only 3 points, I'm not willing to trust either one. The Bears and the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are obviously the favorite side here. I don't like the 12.5. The Buccaneers have not been covering. I think they're 1-5 or something like that in covers this year. They're 2-4, something like that. But if you were going to take the Buccaneers in this one, it's a definite tease for me to get them under the 7. So it would be the minus 6.5 at that point. The Bears, they have a chance to cover here, not only because the Buccaneers haven't been covering, but because Justin Fields is probably going to be used differently in this game. They're going to have to. I doubt that they're going to just try to run into the teeth of the Buccaneers. Bill Lazor knows he needs to pass the ball. He's going to get Justin Fields in open space and let him run around a little bit, maybe loosen up that defense somewhat. I do think the Bears are a live dog in this game, so if I was going to take the full number, I would be looking at the Bears plus the 12.5. But again, this is a game really just to stay away for me. Texans-Cardinals at minus 17.5. I actually have this at capped at 20 to 24, so I think that the Cardinals can cover this spread, and I think they probably will, to be totally honest with you. The Texans, just a backdoor opportunity is really all that you'd be hoping for if you're taking the plus 17.5. I see one game a year where a team that's totally unexpected will come out and either win or make it a really close game that shouldn't have been a really close game, and you're maybe hoping that this is the one if you're betting on the Texans. I'm not going to do that, but I'm also not really prepared to lay over 17 points with the Cardinals because they do play next Thursday. That's my biggest concern, is they play next Thursday, and if they're up big in the third quarter, they just totally take their foot off the gas. They take their players out. They're trying to get out of here healthy because they have to play the Packers on Thursday. So that's why I'm not willing to lay the 17.5. It's not because I don't think the team can do it, but I do think there's going to be ample time for the Texans to try and get 1 or 2 scores and get the cover. What I am looking to do, though, is take the Cardinals in the first quarter, because I do believe that in the first half, and specifically in the first quarter, is when they will look to take the lead and they will look to kind of cement this game and get the hell out of there. And the Cardinals are averaging a touchdown every first quarter, where the Texans really are averaging 3 points in the first quarter, and that's a lot due because of Tyrod Taylor playing in the first game. So the last 3 games, I think their average is like 1 point. Basically, they're averaging 0 in the first quarter at this point. So I do like the Cardinals in the first quarter in that game. That is a line I'm looking to take once it comes out. They have not put the quarter lines out just yet. Colts 49ers. At the beginning of this week, we were on the over 44 because of the matchups. There is going to be heavy rain, heavy wind gusts. I think the wind gusts are getting up to like 30 miles an hour. It's going to be anywhere from heavy showers to drizzle all throughout the day and all throughout the game. So while I don't think I can really pick a side in this one, if I had to, I would probably lean the 49ers just because it's kind of a good scheduling spot for them. They're coming off a bye. The Colts are traveling east to west for a late game. But again, this is really just a stay away for me. I really like that over 44 before the weather got involved. Saints Seahawks. Seahawks, I like them. I don't like laying a lot of points with the Saints because again, you can never trust Jameis. You never know when he's going to go Jameis on you. One, I guess, play that I did want to bring up or add in here is this Bengals-Ravens over-under for the first half specifically. I have mentioned this before. The Ravens were able to beat all of their teams that had really high defensive EDSR. What does that mean? That means the teams that they beat basically sucked on defense. So let's take a look at the teams that they beat. They were able to beat the Chiefs most notably. They have a 58% defensive EDSR. That means that they give up a lot of first downs. They're giving up a first down within the first 2 downs 58% of the time. They were also able to beat the Lions pretty convincingly. The Lions have a 51% defensive EDSR. The Broncos are at 50. The Colts, I believe, are Colts are at 55%. The Chargers were the other team that they beat. The Chargers at 58% defensive EDSR. So all of the teams, other than I believe the Broncos, are probably the ones that had the Lions are probably the ones that had the best, or 50 to 51%, had the best defensive EDSRs. In defensive EDSR, you want to have a low number. Those are the 2 best teams that they played, and they won against. But aside from that, keep in mind that the offensive EDSR for both these teams was below 50%. Below 50% for offensive EDSR. Not always necessarily the worst, but it's something you can't really bet on too frequently unless they're playing a weak opponent, because that just tells you that the offense is very prone to start, stalling out in drives. The team that beat them was the Raiders, and the offensive EDSR has just went to shit since the first week of the season. But their defensive EDSR has maintained this 48-49%. So they are a little bit better on defense. And this was a team that was able to beat the Ravens in week 1. Now, keep in mind, the Ravens were still maybe compensating because of their loss at running back. And they were trying to, kind of get that situation figured out. But this week, they are going to go play the Bengals. The Bengals only allow 43% defensive EDSR. The Bengals are also the 5th best team by defensive DVOA. The Bengals are going to try and make this a low-scoring game. They are going to try and still use their receivers, obviously, but they are going to try and keep it a relatively low-scoring game. And I do believe the Bengals get to cover 7 points in a game that maybe goes under with their total right now is like 46. 7 points is a lot. So I do think that the Bengals plus 7 was a good play. But aside from that, I also think that not the under 46 necessarily, because the second half could change a little bit, but this under, sorry guys, I actually got it at 23.5. It's already been bet down to 22.5. So if you can get it at 23 or 23.5, I love that under for the first half. The first half, I think the defenses are going to come out with great game plans and be able to stall out both of the offenses. At halftime, I do believe the offenses make some adjustments, and one or the other team is going to get going offensively. So if you can, find the first half under 23 or 23.5, and I really love that play. Last thing here, guys, because I got to kind of wrap it up, but last week I had mentioned standard deviations. Just so you know, when you're looking at these scores here in the coaching report card, the expected points is exactly that. It's exactly what we would expect a team to score. But more importantly, this is their quote unquote average score. One standard deviation is really realistically where they're going to fall. One standard deviation in the NFL is 1 touchdown or 7 points. So the Cardinals should be scoring, and let's just round this up to 30 because it's at 29.95. The Cardinals realistically should be scoring anywhere from 23 to 37 points every week. That's what standard deviation means. And with this algorithm that I put together, with all the numbers taken into account, 85% of the time, well, I'm gonna round it down. I'm gonna round it down and give myself less credit. So 80% of the time, these expected points land within one standard deviation of whatever that team is actually going to produce. So the Lions, for the most part, are going to produce 18 points or less. The Broncos are going to produce 25 points or less. So keep this in mind. Again, I'm going to call it 80% accurate. So out of 32 teams, you're looking at about 6 teams or so. Really, like 5 to 6 teams that are going to over or under produce their expected points, including that standard deviation. So they're going to go way over, they're going to go way under. But again, if you want this spreadsheet, it's totally free. Just send me your email address, put it in the comments below. I'll send you a copy of it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay for anything. There's no giveaways. It's all free. Just put your email below. That way you can have it. You can at least kind of know what the expected points are. Once you have that and once you understand the standard deviation, you're able to make a better educated guess as far as overs, unders, spreads, all that kind of stuff. And again, this is really only for the full game, so it does make it a little bit tougher for quarters, and there's a little bit of a different mathematical formula for that. But this is what we work with for the most part. This is really what gives us a good indicator as far as moving forward. And you know what? One last thing, guys, before we get out of here, I'm going to go over the Week 8 schedule advantages because there's not too many of them. Bengals at Jets. This is going to be the Bengals' 3rd consecutive road game. They only cover 46% of the time. That is teams with 3 consecutive road games. So, again, not that you want to bet the Jets. I even have it in here. Most likely to stay away. But the Jets could possibly have a chance to cover that game. And I'm probably going to just stay away from the Bengals side of that one. I might look to take the under, though. Bucks at Saints. Bucks and Saints. So the Saints cover 36% at home. And the Saints played, so they're going to play this Monday night. And then they're going to have to turn around and play at home on a little bit of a short rest against the Buccaneers. And again, the Saints do not do well at home traditionally. So we may be looking to take the Bucks in that one depending on the spread. But that's it, guys. Thanks again. Thank you for sticking with me through all of this. I appreciate all the support. Again, please comment anything you'd like below as far as picks or takes or anything. Also, if you want a copy of the coaching report card, put your email in there. I'll get it over to you as soon as I can. Thank you again. Good luck this weekend. Good luck with your picks, and have a great day.